Hi kids, this is your host Kevin the Chicken Boy Hesacker here, and on this episode of Potty Talk, I shall sit down in the bathroom of a fine artist from the Omaha metro area. Not only is she known for making homemade jewelry that looks a little something like this, and this, and this, but she's also known for making works of art out of cars, and they look like this and this. But on top of that, what she's even mostly known for is making abstract paintings with a fluorescent touch to them, if you will. And they look a little something like this, and this, and this, and this. Her name is Therese Leger, also known as the UV artist or Ultraviolet Artist, if you will. And I am about to sit down and have a talk with her on the crapper on this episode of Potty Talk. And it starts next. Hey kids, and welcome to another edition of Potty Talk, the talk show that takes place in the bathroom because, ladies and gentlemen, that is where the shit goes down. Unless you got bad plumbing, then you might want to call a Roto-Rooter. Nonetheless, we are here in the bathroom of the UV artist, the ultraviolet artist, Miss Therese Leger. Did I get that last name right?
Yes.
Leger. All right, awesome. I sometimes screw that shit up. All right. All right, how you doing, Teresa?
Great, how are you?
All right, great. Everybody, by the way, clap at home.
Yay.
You're the first, so far I've interviewed poets in the bathrooms, comedians in the bathrooms, musicians. I haven't done an artist in the bathroom yet, so congratulations for being the first artist.
Thank you.
Bathroom guest here. I'm not sure that's something to be proud of or not, but
I'm very proud.
all right, cool. Awesome. There you go. So you are an artist here from Omaha, Nebraska, born here, right?
Yes.
Correct? Okay,
Born and raised.
Born and raised. My apologies. It's Omaha. It's Omaha thing. Screw it. Anyways, how long have you always been an artist? Since I know most people, when I ask, how long you've been doing art, most people seem to have been doing it since they were like,
Yeah.
since they could pick up a pencil other than a stick, basically.
I
Is
think
that same
that's
thing with you?
pretty much how it was. I think I kind of learned it when my mom would take me to my babysitters, and they didn't really have to babysit me. They just put a box of crayons and coloring books in front of me, and I would spend 6 hours just coloring all of their coloring books. So it kind of just sparked it from there. I would say, is my earliest memory.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think it was my mom who got me started drawing when I was a kid too, so it's a mom thing, I guess. Mothers create artists.
Yes.
In both the literal and figurative sense.
Yes.
Because really, without that, be some type of test tube art baby, I guess. Anyways,
Sometimes I feel like I could be one.
you never know. So basically been doing this pretty much all your life, I guess. Have you ever had any formal training, art school, anything like that? It's just been self-taught.
I would say for the most part it's been self-taught. I remember pretty vividly taking different art classes just in elementary school, it's just part of the other curriculums, but they stuck out to me a lot more than any of my other classes, and I actually remember, not necessarily by name, but different artist techniques that we learned as kids, and I would apply them throughout my life and remembered them, and then just picking up different workshops here and there, just observing other artists and learning about other techniques, and then of course there's always YouTube now these days, so anytime I want to learn a new technique, I go, just to sources like that, but for the most part I kind of enjoy learning my own techniques and discovering, my own
your own style, just kind of developing through what works best for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Which way it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
I think even if you do have lessons, I think a lot of perceptions that people have is, the only reason why people can make art or do that stuff is because, they've been taught, they've been trained.
Yeah. And that may be true, but then they take that and kind of make it their own or create it into their own, or sometimes it'll spark an idea that is totally unique to them that they can bring to the world, you know.
Gotcha. So, let's see here. Your artwork in particular, can you for those who have never seen your stuff or are seeing this for the first time and finding out who you are, can you describe what exactly your art is, what it is that you do, style, theme,
Simplest way is like ultraviolet reactive art that reacts on, or kind of being redundant here, reacts under black light, but it also reacts under like all different forms of light, and it's kind of goes back to when I first started coloring and doing kind of abstract art when I was like 6 years old and working in those coloring books. I would, for some reason, would feel so many different types of feelings or emotions depending on what color combinations are put together. So like for me, the abstract art isn't so much about like the image you're creating, but the colors that you're combining together to create a certain type of energy or certain type of feeling, vibe to it. And working with ultraviolet art, it's so much easier to create that color, that energy, that vibe that I'm feeling on the inside. It's like it kind of makes it come to life, and it's like the images can range in abstract to some parts abstract, almost like surrealism. I'm pretty experimental with everything. Like it's like I could draw landscapes or paint landscapes and paint people and faces and things like that, but for some reason abstract always just is somehow merged into whatever it is I do, and then also the aspect of color, light, energy, it all connects for me, I guess, and yeah.
Okay. Speaking of the abstract commission here, there's some, people out there, those who don't know what they're talking about, quite frankly, they sometimes criticize abstract, art can do blah.
Yeah, like it's just finger painting or you're just splatter painting, like you're not really doing anything, and I think that also goes back to the whole energy thing. It's like everything is like, every thought that you have creates the world around you, and so even just if you're splatter painting, it's like that still has a certain energy attached to it that is going on within that person's soul, and that energy gets attached to that paint. When they're splattering, there's something more going on there, and you may not see the whole picture until you're done. They may not see the whole picture until you're done, and maybe no one's meant to really understand the full picture, but it moves people. Those colors and that energy that is in that painting, regardless if it's realism or abstract, like there's going to be a certain energy attached to that many people are going to connect to. So it's like maybe you don't like it, you don't connect to it, there's going to be hundreds, thousands, possibly millions that do. So
for you, is there any definition of what can be art, what can't be art?
No.
Okay.
Not really. Even, there's some sick, twisted art out there, but it's
still
unfortunately, like,
yeah, there is.
I wish I could remember this quote. It's from Jeff Buckley. He's one of my favorite music artists, and I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something about how we're all artists, or we all find art or creativity in something, whether it's in art or teaching or music or even murder. And it was just like, it's kind of like a heavy quote, because it's like, how can murder be art? That's not art, that's wrong, but it's like you can kind of feel and understand like what he's saying. It's like how we all do find art in something or creativity in something, and some people do find creativity in destruction or in building something and then tearing it down, and it's like, it can be sad, almost overwhelming to think that anyone could consider that a type of art form or creativity, but it's like, it's kind of the reality, I guess, in this world where it's like, there's so much being created and destroyed every day, so much living and dying every day, and it's like, artists are kind of like, in the middle of it, like weaving the fabric or telling the story of all of it, kind of, I don't know, but
well, going to any of that stuff you consider as is there a definite think there is an actual thing as good art, bad art, or is it all up to the viewer or the interpreter?
I would say bad art would be if you are. And this could be my entire opinion, and sometimes like my perceptions on this has gone back and forth, has kind of changed. But it's like, say you are fully capable of doing something so much more, and you have the talent there, and you're not fulfilling it, and instead you provide like somebody or something, or just the world or whoever you're presenting to, even your own self, with something less than what you really can offer as an artist. It's like, to me, that would be the only thing, and that's, to me, not even anything. It's like part of almost like the journey, almost like every artist would experience that on some level, not like, realizing you could create or do so much more with your art, or build it into something so much more, but instead it's like you're either holding yourself back, or just certain circumstances of the time holding you back. For the most part, I've discovered it's mostly just yourself holding you back, but but I mean, sometimes it's hard to get to the point of being able to break out of that and realize that, and kind of push yourself even further. So basically,
Just kind of go outside the safety zone.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's like,
what.
it's like, if you're envisioning it in your mind, create it. Don't be afraid of it. It's like, I sometimes feel like I've seen this in artists where they will do an art show and they aren't presenting their very finest works or their best works or their favorite work, but at the same time it's like there could be a reason for that, like something they're going through artistically or personally or whatever, why they may not present their entire selves in their artwork.
Gotcha.
But to me, I don't know if you could really consider that as like bad artwork, It's like, it's all part of the journey, the process of being an artist in the first place, so I don't know. I don't know if it's possible to have bad art. Like, I think it's possibly to view art as somebody, like, if you dislike a certain type of art, or you don't really see it as art, but there's always going to be someone else that totally understands or gets it. Like, I've seen that so many times. Like, someone else will completely connect to a certain image where it's like, what is the name of that artist who, I don't even know how anyone considered it art, but it was considered art, where he basically would just put a couple strange objects together and be like, okay, this is art. And it's like, the objects are already built, they're already done, like, you didn't really do anything but put these two objects together, put them on a pedestal, put it in an art gallery and say that it's art, and yet you didn't really do anything, but somehow other people connected with that image. It made them feel something inside. It triggered some kind of emotion or feeling or memory from the past or whatever it was, but they felt something from it. So it's like, how can, it's kind of like one man's trash is another man's treasure kind of deal, where it's like...
Well, it reminds me of a story I heard back in my art school days. I don't know the name of the artist, so maybe you guys can Google it at home if you're going to fill in the blanks here yourself. But a teacher of mine told me the story of this guy who took a picture of another person's artwork and then put it in a glass case, and it ended up going to the gallery, and ended up I think some guy ended up buying it for twice the amount of money than the initial art piece, and that's like one of the big debases.
That's painful for some artists. How like some artists can put so much time and energy into their works, they'll work on it for years, and then like someone comes up with something in 2 seconds and makes like 3 times the amount of money, and it's like, oh my gosh. But that's the way it goes.
I think that's too also with the it does seem, just my opinion anyway, it seems like to me like sometimes the mainstream crowd, I guess, sometimes doesn't quite understand art, or doesn't quite get it, or they certain things about it brings them from wanting to explore the actual shit, the actual people who are making stuff. Like a couple months ago, this was in a meme. Again, I don't know the name of the guy who did it, but there was a artist. He basically made like two huge, white canvases, basically, and it sold at some auction for like a ridiculous amount of money. I think it was like up in the millions or something like that. And then the fun part is when you see stuff like that, is go to the comment section of anything like that, and just watch people just freak out. And there were just tons of people. Well, first there's you got the comments of, oh, I could have done that, but you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. You could have done it, but you didn't do it.
I think the criticism that comes against it should maybe be more against the guy that actually bid for the it's like that part I'm not quite sure. That's another weird thing too about art is when you have to sell your stuff. Is it tough to? Do you have any issues when it comes to the selling part?
The selling part is the most difficult, and I think this is what's kind of frustrating. I think even for people that come out of college, when they go to art school, it's like they teach you the art aspect, but then they don't teach you the business aspect of it. And I feel like it's like if you're really going to try to go to school to be an artist for a living, like you should be taught the whole entire business aspect of putting yourself out there and selling yourself as an artist, which is the most challenging part. And pricing artwork is the most challenging because it's like you have to consider so many things when you're making a piece of artwork, and it's expensive. So many people, I think, don't realize how much money artists are really spending on their art supplies and everything that goes into it. It's like so much is going into it, you know, whether it's just like you're taking like sometimes maybe 5 trips to the art store in one day because you keep coming up with ideas for a piece, and you're like, okay, I can add this to it, or I can get this tool and do this crazy thing over here, and it's like that's all like gas mileage in between creating the piece. And you know, then there's of course whether you are buying canvases already made or buying the materials, it's still pricey either way, really. And you know, oil paint artists, they spend just a ridiculous amount of money on paint. It's like it's oils are so expensive, but that's their art form, that's their passion, and that's what they connect with, and that's what they have to buy. And then they're putting that out there, and it's like some people don't want to spend that much money on art, or they don't see the complete value in it. And other people are like, will sometimes think artists are undervaluing themselves. Like that's happened to me plenty of times where I'll have artwork priced at a certain price, and I've had friends or people have said to me at art shows, you know, you're undervaluing yourself. You know, you should really raise your prices on this. Like I can tell just by looking at it, you're not really profiting that much on these, or if anything at all. And it's like I would stop and think about it, and I'm like, you know, you're actually probably right. Like, so it's like I feel like it takes different adjustments, and plus like, you know, depending, you know, on the atmosphere, it can be difficult to price things, whether you're going to do like a festival or you're going to do a private art gallery show, or you know, maybe you're going to be doing like a charity event. You know, it's like it's a challenge. It's one that's worth it, but it can be really hard. You know, that aspect is always making any money at all. That's the thing of being an artist. It's like sometimes you're happy to just break even on your artwork, because it's like I need money right now. So it's like, let's see, this painting cost me like probably $40 to make, give me $50, and that's definitely still way under. Like.
Yeah. I had that same conversation with people before the show a couple years ago, and had the same speech where someone told me about the selling. For me, I mean, when it comes to the selling, I also have just a hard time figuring out their price. One of the things, because I generally go low on my craft. my craft art. He does actual art. I do craft. I do cartoony shit. But
I like your art, actually. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Shucks. But one of the reasons, like when I was in my art school days, my teachers were telling me, you know, when you go, oh, so high, and I did that for a show, and nobody can afford anything, and I felt just like ass about it. But and I do like people to own it. I do like sharing this stuff and give people a chance to own it. Actually, same way there.
Oh yeah, me too.
Okay. At least I'm on the right page here. But one of the reasons too that I have a tendency to try to sell low is most of my friends and whatnot aren't rich people.
Yeah, exactly.
My crowd is, you know, poor class and middle class crowd, and I have a habit of going low just because.
Exactly. You want to have something bright and happy. Yeah. I've traded my artwork. I've given away so much of my artwork. I've sold a lot of it too, but at the same time, it's like I don't know, like it just depends on where you go. But like to friends, it's like you know that they're not making enough money to like spend $500. Like it's like that's your entire rent, like going to a painting. It's like no, you can't do that. It's not gonna happen.
No. Stop it. Go. Let's go back into you go back to your art stuff right here. You got one actually right behind your head here.
Yes. One I just did a few days ago. And I don't know what it is. It's like a comet, abstract kind of comet, fiery flames like falling out of the universe, crashing into planet Earth.
It kind of makes sense, actually. I get it. A lot of your stuff is right for I think the first art stuff I ever seen of yours was the black light, UV ultraviolet stuff. Has that been mainly or primarily?
It has been for years. Like, it didn't start out as that. Like, I've messed with blacklight stuff. I've always enjoyed it, and I've made posters. I did different paintings and stuff, but I didn't fully pursue it until I did a custom painting for a friend, and he's like, add these little blue lines on this crazy, like, almost sun ray painting or something. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's abstract. And after I did these blue lines, like, on this abstract kind of sun ray, as soon as I was done with it, he turned the black light on it, and I was just like, oh my god. From then on there, like, that's all I wanted to do. It would just hit me. It was like the colors that I used had so much ultraviolet colors in it, and like, I just saw it. It was just like, it just spoke to my soul, and I was like, this is what you got to do.
This is it.
This is it.
Where
this
we're going.
Yeah, this is
the
and
the door is open.
and I mean, it's not just black light either. Like, since I was a kid, I've always been attracted to all forms of light. Like, so it's like, I really, one day, like, one of my dreams is to create an atmosphere, like, maybe even in, like, a forest or something, create, like, a total, like, magical, mystical kind of forest with, like, having, like, candlelight and black light and RGB lights, like, all these different forms of light to create all these different types of moods, and just have different types of paintings or sculptures and things, like, in the forest, and getting a bunch of people together, a bunch of other people that are attracted to the light, black light, and candlelight, and just every kind of light you can think of, basically, just create magic.
I think one of the reasons too, I also why I like your stuff, the black light. My brother, the next one I have, we'll go with the whole series how many brothers I have on another show. I have a big family, but the next one up, oldest from me, pretty much a child of the 80s. So he grew up, you know, when he was in his teens, there was, you know, hair bands and all that stuff. And so, but his room was nothing but, you know, fluorescent posters, and that's like huge, I guess, around that time apparently. And the paint posters that he had, that, you know, like his Iron Man posters that weren't fluorescent, he would like go ahead and paint it, and the spots there, which is funny because he's never had any type of artistic interest in skill other than painting on Iron Maiden posters.
Yeah.
It's always like the most trippy room. Like his whole room was like painted black with nothing but these fluorescent posters and whatnot. I think for some reason that stuff like brings me back to seeing
I've heard that from a lot of people.
It's like that. Hey, it's my stoner brother's bedroom.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword with doing blacklight art, because it's like people kind of, especially from older generations, immediately associated with like drugs and psychedelics. Like, oh, you must have been messed up when you did it. And it's like, well, actually, most of the blacklight art I've ever done, I like completely sober, completely sober. Just have to put that on record.
God kids, right? Did this stuff sober.
Sober. Okay, not every single one of them, but for the most part.
Not every artist is on drugs.
Yes, even if their artwork.
I'm not on drugs. Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
I think I was the only person in art schools. Because I went to this art college in Denver. Which is ironic, with the law now down there. I think I was probably the only person in that college that wasn't on any type of, so I don't know. And I came out just fine, I think. So anyways.
But yeah, it's kind of the reason why I also really love doing it too, because it's able to connect with little kids all the way up to people that are born in like the 60s and stuff. So it's like artwork that's able to connect with everybody. And then of course my generation just loves that kind of stuff in general. Anything that's just
has a very wide universal.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like, wow, it's like I'm not just connecting with like this crowd or that crowd. It's like all ages, like from the time a little kid can, you know, look at anything and be like, oh, cool.
Also, one of the upsides of doing the abstract too, I think, is because
little kids are very much drawn.
Yeah. It's not so.
Sparks the imagination.
Cool. Other than the fluorescent paintings, you also have been doing, I'm not sure how many of these you've done, I've only kind of found out about this last year, car art.
Art cars.
Design or decorating cars.
Yes, and...
Which, by the way, makes it very easy to find you in a parking lot, by the way. Try and find this place coming over here today. Well, That got to be it. That's the only car.
That's why I like actually parking there. I'm like, okay, just look for my car, you'll find it. That's how a lot of my friends find me at places in general. They're like, I was looking for your car, I couldn't find you. Like, if they were looking for me, you were just looking for my car. Like, okay.
That's the easy part.
Yeah. If you find the car, then you'll eventually find her. Eventually. But actually, the people that got me involved with the art car was people. The Central Art Car exhibition they do like every single year, like around Labor Day weekend.
Okay, I was actually about to bring it up if you were associated with that at all.
Yeah,
okay.
And they had my artwork in their gallery, and the day that I it was actually kind of backtracking or whatever, but I guess that was actually my first like I guess kind of first gallery experience that was like a lot more people than I was ever used to, and that was pretty much going back to answer a question that you haven't even asked me yet, but that was one of my best art experiences. Really? I would say, yeah, it was what kind of broke me out of some of my shyness. Like it took a while, which kind of led up to the whole art car thing, because when I was getting my art down from the gallery and I was loading it into my car, the owner was Pete Lochran was like, what kind of car do you have? And I was like, a Cavalier. He's like, why don't you turn it into an art car? And I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I should do that. That sounds like a great idea. And it actually took me about a year to actually do it, though. It was like maybe about a month before the next show, like a year later, and it suddenly, I was like, just hit me, I should just do this. And I did it, and Pete was like, you have no idea I can't remember if he used the analogy, or not analogy, but I don't know what you call it. Basically, he said something like, you have no idea the box you just opened or the can of worms you just opened, basically, by doing this. And he was right, it opened up this entirely new world for me that I never expected or dreamed would even happen, and like, just experience after experience.
Like pitting the UV thing for the first time, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What is this?
It's kind of all kind of interconnected, I guess, but yeah. So the art car thing.
It takes balls, too, by the way, to do that to your car. I thought if I had some junkers in my time, and I thought about doing something to it at once, I just couldn't do it. Yeah. So props to you for.
Yeah, it was. I was so scared the first day I took it out on the road. I'm so shy, right? And I'm just like, I just want to pretend like no one is seeing me.
Totally sticks out.
I'm just like, maybe no one will really notice me. And it's like, no, that didn't happen. It was like the opposite effect. I went to the gas station. All I did, I just drove to the gas station and got an energy drink. And immediately it was like 3 people stopped and started talking to me about it. And they're like, when did you do this? I'm like, I just finished it. Like, it just got done drying. This is my first day out. Like, but it opened up that door, to basically express myself as an artist more to people. Because before, like, my artistry was a secret little world that I never shared with anyone my whole life. Pretty much, it was just like, never put myself out there like that. So, I don't know, it was an awesome journey that I felt kind of was sparked when I had my artwork at the 906 Gallery. And from there, it's just kind of, I don't know, between that and then them suggesting I turn my art into an art car, and then that all kind of occurring, like I said, it opened up a lot of things for me.
I'm going to backtrack a little here. There's a question popped in my head a while back, and then I just kind of forgot about it. At what point, this probably sound like it. So the question, at what point in your life do you decide that, this is what you want to do, this whole art thing, this is the path you're going to go down?
That is not a silly question, but my answer might be kind of far out there for some people, but basically there was someone who was considered a mystic. I'm not sure if they really were, but it still helped me at that particular point in my journey. But they told me that I needed to pick, like, that I have a lot of interest in life, that if I just pick one thing to focus on, just one thing, that will open up all the doors to all the other things that I want to do in my life. And so I was like, okay, I have to pick one thing. And I was like, what am I most passionate about? And I'm like, well, my art. But then, like, within the realm of my art, I like doing all these things. Like, I like playing music, I like making jewelry, I do like painting, I like drawing, I love doing sculpture type work. Like, there's really no limit to what I want to do and can do so it was like picking one thing was really difficult, and it took me probably around like 3 or 4 years to really find that one thing to focus on. And it was probably through my discovery with wanting to work with palette knives rather than paintbrushes that really kind of sparked just this sudden like major focus on just painting with these palette knives, and that's when the blacklight art got kind of mixed in with the textured abstract palette knife work, and so it all kind of came together and just evolved from there through all the other experiences. And it's kind of cool because the first job that I did on the art car was ultraviolet black light palette knife work, so it was kind of like crazy how like kind of all
just sort of merges together at some point.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, so I learned this years ago so that I could do it now at this point in time after breaking through this other thing. Okay.
It's just sort of like the whole circle of life thing.
Exactly.
The quantum leap of the...
It's kind of funny that you mentioned circle of life, because what I'll do with my artwork is I'll take, okay, so like I'll have like the blacklight painting, and then I'll take photographs of some, like, say I'm like, okay, this is a cool detail right here. I want to turn this, just this small part, into a big blown up photograph.
Really?
Just that one detail, and turn it into this cool abstract photograph that looks like it's glowing under blacklight, because I'll make sure the blacklight's on under a camera, and it'll take a lot of messing around with the settings to really get the colors right, for the colors to match, like, or the color spectrum to match like in the camera. It's like probably one of the most impossible things to do. But I had one camera. It's kind of broken now, but it picked up the colors better than any camera that I had. But what I'll do then is, after the photographs are taken, then I'll find some cool detail within the photograph. I'll cut that part out and put it inside of like a pendant, like a kind of they call them bezels, where they're kind of like a flat piece of metal or something. Could be circular, and it's kind of is sunken in, so you could like put stuff on the inside, like acrylic resin, like fill it with acrylic resin, or put like a picture on the inside. So like I'll put the photograph on the inside and then put that in resin, so it's kind of like the painting becomes photography, the photography becomes jewelry, and it's like this artistic circle of life kind of thing. So that, what you said made me think of that. So
how many kind of art shows have you been involved with?
how many kind?
How many
that is a little bit hard for me to say between like doing art car events and shows. Like it's kind of difficult to say. I've worked with Arts for All. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them.
I think I've heard of it. I'm not quite sure.
It's like a organization that offers art classes, like all ages, at a basically like lower price than you would pay like at another school. And they are an amazing organization. They have classes, I believe, out in West Omaha, and they have some down in South Omaha. And I did art shows with them, and basically anyone that does art shows with them, I think they do a couple a year. I'm not sure if they're still doing it. I haven't kept up with them in about probably like a year or two, but basically artists will donate a certain percentage to the school, like for basically art supplies and things like that, just materials for students to learn. So that was something that was pretty important to me, that I really enjoyed doing that. I felt, I don't know, it opened up a lot of new doors into doing something that I want to do more, which is charity work involving artwork. So that was something I, actually, since I moved back to Omaha, would like to get involved back with them again. And then, oh boy, there's been lots of other just various kind of random art events. And then there's Project 101. They basically do projects specified to certain themes every month. So like, I did quite a few of those shows before I moved to Texas, and I'm actually looking forward to doing those again as well. So it's like, basically they will choose a certain topic, like they did, I think it was Project Elements, for example. So like, it's not like restricted to like, okay, it has to be this certain type of thing. It's like, whatever your interpretation of elements, anything to do with elements, and it could be, you know, all the different kinds of elements, you know, it's like the element of surprise, or like,
Gotcha.
like the actual table of elements, like or
whatever interpretation you could come off by hearing that one word element.
Exactly. It's like whatever comes to you, run with it. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. It's like tons of artists getting together and just all like sharing like what their interpretation is, and it's kind of like, I guess what I like about it, it's kind of like receiving like a school project and being able to challenge yourself and then present how you allowed yourself to be challenged through that theme, and then presenting it, and it basically telling people about your whole journey with that theme, that topic, and how you got to this point and with this piece. And I don't know, it's just it always excited me. It's always at the end of every show, it's always like, okay, what's gonna be the next theme? It's like you already want to know, like, what's our next project? What's our next challenge?
What's the next, like a game show?
Exactly.
Like whose lines is it anyways? But for art,
exactly.
It's that improv thing. Like here's where go with it. Another two.
It almost feels like an improv kind of art show, like just because of the dynamics of the people that go there. It's like it's really open kind of vibe. I don't know. It's definitely something special.
It's interesting. I mean, I like that. Seen a few of the shows there in the past, and it is kind of neat just to see the different takes you get on whatever the theme is. I think the next one they're doing is Doors.
Yes, Project Doors.
I'm going to try to get involved too, by the way. I bought some stuff like last Friday, so I'm trying to like make time in my calendar to
I wish
actually.
I knew what date it was.
I think August. I think was the deadline, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So for you other parties at home, look up 101, Project 101.
Project 101. Project Doors. You can look up the Central Art Car exhibition. Arts for All.
I guess that's about it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
That's other stuff. Just go look up, look around, just drive around town and you'll find stuff. My God. Facebook art. I actually did that a couple of months ago. Just Facebook galleries, and found like all these places that I didn't know was freaking out there. Don't know why this town's keeping that a secret. It seems.
Yeah. There's a lot of galleries, like, and they keep opening up everywhere. Like Benson area has opened up a lot, and oh my gosh, it's totally turned into a major art community there. It's beautiful.
Oh, artsy music, and it's like a weird whole little creative community down in one street. So
yes, exactly.
Check it out. Go to Benson and just wander around.
Yes.
But don't look crazy when you do it, because then they're calling cops.
Actually, in Benson area, it might look normal if you look crazy. Just if you gotta look a little slightly off, and then just a little.
Well, I'll save this story for another time. But yeah, I've met a couple of crazy people down and back just doing the open mic stuff.
Yeah.
This little short guy who told me that he was me, but from the future.
That's
And
awesome.
that's there, that there, that's all you need to know the story. Then I met my future self, and apparently my future self, I'm a short little Jewish guy, so who knew?
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that was interesting. Let's see, you talk about you were in Texas, you know, Omaha, you've been around the place.
I haven't been like everywhere, like let's see here. I mean, I've traveled like all the states in between, like Texas and Nebraska, and tried to actually go to North Carolina last November, but kind of got stranded on my way, so I got stuck in Atlanta, Georgia, got help from a mobile mechanic out there, and then that wasn't the real issue, so only made it to about South Carolina before we got stranded. 4 days. Found another mobile mechanic who we actually became friends with. That short period of time, he let us stay overnight at our house before hitting the road the next day, and it was like, it turned into this whole other adventure, and instead of going to this awesome art car event where Janis Joplin was actually going to have one of her cars there, and I was so excited to go, but it didn't happen.
Oh.
So it's like, I traveled through all the states in between, like Houston, Texas, and South Carolina, so, all those southern states, Louisiana and Alabama, and that was pretty interesting, because since I was a kid, I'd never even driven through any of those places before, so I had no idea what they were really like except for what I'd see on TV, which is usually stereotypical type stuff.
Like cliche version of what that town is like.
Exactly, so it was cool to actually pass through myself, and it was a really kind of cool, unexpected experience getting stranded somewhere and just kind of figuring out how to find your way back. I'm like, okay, thought I was going to an art show, but something entirely new is happening. And then I went to Texas like not too long ago, and on the way back ended up stopping in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 4 days for another art car event that I wasn't expecting to go to. It was just like last minute decision, so I was just like, a lot of these little travel adventures are kind of out of nowhere. And then even when I was in Texas, like I'd still take traveling trips to like other parts of Texas, did some work doing stagehand in Austin, Texas, and just kind of been having a lot of experiences, a lot of traveling, and to tell you the truth, not as much art as I would like actually creating the artwork. Like my art card is kind of, it's been there, and all these other experiences have been there, and I've been able to paint a little bit here and there, but it's actually been a major challenge to find a space where I can actually create like what is really going on inside, because I feel like it's evolved to this point where I keep growing out of every space that I entered into, and like all the art supplies and things that I have here are not even all of what I have. Like I have some stuff like at a park right now. I have some stuff at a friend's house, some stuff in a storage unit. Like it's just like one day I would like to just find a place where I can put everything together and really kind of organize and have almost like an assembly line, like several assembly lines for like jewelry stuff and art stuff. It's like all the way from conception idea to packaging and shipment, or just packaging up to go to an art gallery or something like that.
Gotcha.
So, but
it's tough to try to find that balance though.
it is,
You
especially
got that, and then you got real life in the middle of all of that.
exactly. Real life, what's that? I didn't know that was real life.
Try to avoid that real life thing, but
I don't know what that is anymore. I used to believe in real life, but I decided that real life is pretty imaginary. Like,
in a way, kind of is.
And maybe that's just an artist's perception. I don't know, but
This is kind of be a bit trying to write something with that kind of stuff and like the whole money thing. Like we made it up, but what this?
I know, it's like
a fictional thing
this
that
is
doesn't.
$1 and I control your life.
Yeah.
Like everything in it.
Like the Wills and Death, we made the thing up. Just call it even.
You can't.
It's just.
You can't live your dream because you need this $1.
It's like a game of Maple Leaf that just got out of control, and now we're
exactly.
gotta work 9 to 5.
This Monopoly game has gone way too far, you guys. Like, I think everything's been monopolized. Like, everyone is just like pretty much playing for just shits and giggles at this point. Like, what are we doing here?
What was the point of all this? Let's see here. It's artists, I guess. Do you have any advice for other aspiring artists out there? People who think about art, that want to get involved with it, or people who are involved with it, but they just won't.
Yes,
They won't become openly artists, I guess.
Just do it.
Just fucking
do it. Like, don't think about it for one more second. Just like do it. Like, I don't care if you like, I don't know, take apart your toilet and turn it into sculpture right now. Just like explain it to your parents later. Like, be like, this is for art, mom and dad. Like,
just trust me.
Like, you guys should have just gotten me that palette set last Christmas, and you didn't do it, so you don't have a toilet now. I'm just kidding. No, but for real though, like I've always had this belief that every single person has a certain type of creative, artistic thing going on inside them, and like so many people don't believe they have it, and I can see it in them. Even if it could be like through just a certain decision they make or a certain viewpoint they have, it's like I can just see it in them, that spark, and that wants to be ignited. And I feel like it's like so many people that think that they don't have it in them, and I wonder if they think that because they can't replicate what someone else has already done. You know what? And it's like, for me, it's like, okay, if you can't replicate what someone else has already done, that's cool. Look inside yourself and find like your own unique thing. It's like artists have worked with palette lines before, artists have worked with blacklight paint before. Have they necessarily worked with them together? I feel like I'm maybe one of the few people, or maybe the only one that has actually merged those worlds together. And so it's like, both those things are something that someone else has done, but the thing that I created out of it is something that someone has not done. So it's like, there's always just that's something, and I wish every person could find that. Like, and I know it's in every single person. Like, it has to be. And there's so many people out there.
It's like the Christmas spirit. It's in everyone. You gotta reach down.
It sounds almost cheesy.
It's like the ending of Scrooge.
But it's like, it almost sounds cheesy, but it's like, maybe your art form is tile work, you know, maybe it's designing grills for barbecuing, you know, but everyone has that inside of them.
Something that they...
And it's almost painful as an artist who feels like they finally did find their thing, or at least on some level has found it, to like meet people that you can almost see that there's like a certain type of pain that they carry with them for not finding that thing within themselves yet, and being able to just break out and break free and be what they want to be and do what they really, really want to do deep down. It's like, as an artist, you want to share that experience with every person you come across, I feel like. It's like you wish everyone could experience what you feel like you discovered within yourself.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
Cool. Alright, well, we will go ahead and move on to the bonus round here. The potty questions of Potty Talk. There are no points in the potty questions, so if you're keeping score at home, stop it. Fucking pointless. It's like money, it's fucking pointless. Unless you got bills to pay, then they come looking for your ass. Well, other than that, fucking pointless.
And that's when the non-reality, or the reality of non-reality sets in.
It's like some weird fucking Inception fucking thing going on. I feel like the little Keanu Reeves thing now. Whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to the potty
We're
questions.
in the Matrix right now. We're not even in the bathroom. Like. This toilet tastes like chicken. Sorry, you haven't even got to the body joke yet.
I think that was the first one. This toilet tastes like chicken. The first potty joke of the night. Which, by the way, if your toilet does taste like chicken, please see a doctor. Cause,
it probably should taste like chicken.
Yeah, and 2, you shouldn't be tasting your toilet. Not a good place for it to be. Unless you're a little dog. Dogs love that. I don't know why. They just can't keep their heads out of the old hopper. Maybe we're missing out.
Maybe.
That damn reality thing. The reality of toilet water is keeping us from enjoying a damn good beverage.
Yes.
Don't try that out.
That reminds me of a story that I don't know if I should tell.
Well, now you should tell, because you just said...
It has to do with potty, so I might as well. But when I was a little kid, I took one of those giant pixie sticks straws. Like, I don't know if you ever saw those. They were like giant versions of pixie sticks, and they were in like in a plastic tube that was like a straw. Well, like, I cut both ends of it after all the sugar was gone. Of course, I'm all sugared out as a little kid, and I was like, giant straw, I need a giant cup. Toilet bowl. So I actually put the straw in the toilet and drank out of the toilet.
Really?
Yeah. I was like probably 3 years old, I think, when I did that, 3 or 4.
You're a hardcore toddler.
And my brother found out, and he's like, that's disgusting. Don't ever do that again. People go to the bathroom there. And I'm like, it looked clean. He's like, just because it looks clean doesn't mean it's clean. I'm like, it's hard for a kid that young to understand, like, what microscopic germs are.
I don't know why I'm going to tell this story on tape. Maybe I'll edit it, but I'll tell it anyways. My older brother would tell me to tell it anyways. I was telling you, I'm just tasting gross stuff. I think when I was like, probably around maybe 3 or something, our dog had crap on the bed, and I didn't know any better. I just seen it and went, snack, and then I realized quickly that wasn't a snack. So
chocolate.
Yeah. So if you have kids and there's a dog crapping on your bed, tell your kids that's not chocolate, because that's just fucked up. And don't let them drink out of the toilet either. So that's the lessons to learn here from tonight's episode. Don't eat shit and don't drink out of the toilet.
And don't give your kids pixie sticks, especially giant ones.
Exactly. You're asking for trouble. Alright, do one of the potty questions here.
Okay.
All over the place now. Bathrooms. Do you think bathrooms need art? I see you have an opinion here, so perhaps yes.
Yes, I love putting artwork in bathrooms.
Should people decorate their toilets? Because I think that just gets left behind. Like, no one ever.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that. I've always thought if I had my own toilet, like I would definitely make it an ultraviolet reactive toilet for sure.
Okay,
Like,
should be pretty bad.
yeah.
I've never seen it. That should be kind of cool.
I'll have one one
like,
day.
like a fucking Star, like Tron in the bathroom break of Tron. This question I asked everyone on Potty Talk, and you can take this in the literal sense or figurative sense. It almost kind of goes with the theme shows that we were talking about earlier. What is your favorite potty word? That could be literal,
My
figurative.
favorite potty word?
Yeah.
Gosh, I've never been asked the question, so I've never thought about it too much, but I'm trying to think of all the phrases I say when I gotta go. I'm like thinking in my head, like, in my head I'll say things like, man, I really gotta take it off right now.
Okay, never. Dump would be.
Dump is a pretty common one, I guess. I really gotta go right now. I don't know a specific word, like, I've used all of them, really. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Every word.
Dropping kids off at the pool. Like, gotta go have a conversation with the porcelain god. Like, let's see, what other ones are these? Sometimes like, gotta go into my lab and like experiment or like travel through space and time. I'll be back later. Like, or I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be back in about a year. You guys, like, don't worry about me. Like,
so awesome stuff. Remember, I think you're the first guest that's taken the potty word question and actually used it in the going to the bathroom sense.
yeah.
Almost everyone else has to go straight to like cuss words. And
Yeah.
so congratulations for being the first to take you on a journey. So,
I like going on journeys.
Alright, and then the last potty question I'm going to ask, this is kind of potty related, I guess. Farts. A couple years back I asked you about the idea of doing a all-themed art show about farts.
I remember you talking to me about that. I thought it was an awesome idea. I still feel like you should do that.
So you would still be down for that if that ever happened?
Yes,
Alright,
definitely.
you hear it first, people on Potty Talk. Teresa is down for the fart show.
I'm
The
down.
fart art show.
Yes.
It'll happen someday. I'll build it like
The art of farts.
Yes, the art of farts. It's going to happen. It's, oh my god. Alright, well, that's going to wrap up the potty words, the potty questions and all that silly nonsense. Before we wrap up, is there any upcoming stuff you need to plug, or
Upcoming stuff?
are you going to be part of that one-on-one show, or are you going to try to anyway?
I am going to do that. I'm also, of course, want to do the Central Art Car exhibit.
Okay. Labor Day,
Yes,
the
Labor Day
parade?
weekend, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
the
so
parade.
look up that, people.
Trying to think of anything else. Might be unexpectedly flying off to the Rainbow Gathering.
Oh, really?
So, I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, but I feel like it's going to happen, but that's not, it's a Rainbow Gathering.
Is that like Highlander but different, but happier?
I guess you could call it that. I don't know, a lot of people have like many different interpretations of what it actually is, but I feel like it's a lot of people coming together to basically share kind of like a certain light, love, energy with each other as a community of people, a large community of people, and I'm really not sure how that's really ties into my art so much actually, but it's something that I'm going to take there and share it with people, so it's not really going to be a place to sell art because it's only like bartering system pretty much there, so
trading and stuff?
yeah,
Okay,
so like no money allowed. None of this
None of that
stuff.
imaginary
We have tangible things that we can trade for each other, so it's like value for value.
Like the Pilgrims when they first... Yeah.
Exactly.
Please bring maize. Alright, well that's interesting. Okay, well more stuff. It's also some interesting shit to Google here after watching the show, kids. With that said, let's thank Teresa here for being tonight's guest on Potty Talk. Everyone clap at home. Yay! Clap for yourself. Give yourself a round of applause.
Okay.
Lately I've been trying to give prizes out to people on Potty Talk because no one should go home a loser. So I drew a shitty ass chicken on toilet paper that says don't poop on me because,
We're
by the way, it is harder than a motherfucker to work on toilet paper. I found that out.
It looks like it.
It's kind of shredded in
That's a
spots.
pretty good chicken though.
So yeah, you can flush
I
that
like
later.
his down feathers kind of coming off of him right there.
There you go. See? Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Teresa, for being here on the show.
Thank you.
And I think that there is going to wrap up today's episode of Potty Talk. Thanks for watching, kids. Don't forget to YouTube that shit. Look up Teresa when she has stuff posted online. You don't have a fan page anymore, do you?
I do, like, if you just look up, like, UV Art by Therese Leger, my main website is actually currently down. Like, a lot of my websites are kind of down, so it's kind of hard to find me right now.
But, okay. Just Google every now and then, every couple months,
Yes, you can
what's
Google
your
my name,
resurface?
and there's lots of, like, basically a lot of my art will come up, different websites will come up. Yeah, if you Google my name, you should be able to find tons of stuff out there related to me and Ultraviolet Art. If you see anything, this is UV Artist Omaha or anything like that.
Alright, cool. There we go. So, you got homework, people. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, host here, Chicken Boy here. Thanks for watching, and YouTube ass shit. Good night. Oh, and the cops are coming, so it's time to end the show.